In this video, we're going to show you how to install the brake master cylinder on your Subaru Legacy located under your hood. We're going to go ahead and spray the top of our reservoir and clean up any of the debris that's sitting on the top with the dirt. Spray it. Go ahead and clean up around here using a little bristle brush if you have one. And open up the reservoir cap, set that aside. Now inside there's a little filter or a screen. I'm going to use my needle nose pliers. I'm going to press it down, and be careful, you don't want to puncture the screen that's in there, but I'm going to press this down, open it up, and I'm going to pull that cap out, or the screen. There it is. Set that aside. You will want to go ahead and clean this. You can use some spray solvent and clean that and set that aside. Now I'm going to use a little container here, and I'm going to use this tool here to go down inside and vacuum out as much of that brake fluid as possible. It is a very small port that's in there, or access, and I'm not getting much out, but ideally what you want to do is take out as much of that brake fluid as possible. After you've cleaned out your screen here, you can drop that down inside, press that down, and install the cap. Now on the inboard portion here of our reservoir, we have a level sensor. There's a little pinch tab on the side facing outward. So if you pinch in on that and wiggle that out, here it is right there. And there's a little pinch tab there. I'm going to set that aside. Now that we have our rags and towels underneath to catch the brake fluids going to leak out, we're now going to go ahead and use a 10mm flare wrench. It's ideal so you don't strip the nut here, to go ahead and loosen and unthread these. All right, once we get this on there, we're just going to break this free. Ideally, you want this nut to spin separate of the hard line, and we have that separated. We're going to go ahead and break this one here free. Okay, we have both of them separated. I snugged them gently. What I'm going to do next is I want to go ahead and break these nuts free. There's one here and there's one on the upper right. I'm going to go ahead and loosen those. Now I'm using a 12mm socket with an extension here. Going to be reusing that nut. Let's go ahead and get to this upper right one here. I just removed my ratchet. I'm going to reach down here and capture that nut with the socket. There it is. Set that aside. Now I want to come back to our hard lines here. And let's go ahead and loosen and separate these here. Now the nice thing about this here is that once you have them loose, you do not have to continue to use the flare wrench. And we have a little bit of a vacuum boost release here. We have that vacuum pressure release. I'm just going to switch back over to a open 10mm wrench. It's a little bit faster. You might actually get to the point where you can reach down inside there and just finish unthreading that by hand, if you can get your fingers in there. All right, we have that rear one undone. Let's go ahead and zip this one out. Okay, we have both lines disconnected. On the upper right-hand side, there is a little harness here with a little tab on it that's on the stud. So I'm just going to disconnect, pull that off to the side. I'm going to grab this unit and just gently wiggle it because there's a rubber O-ring seal on the inside. Wiggle it and pull it straight out, pulling it off the studs. Separate those lines and pull it up and out. Now try and keep it as level as possible because there is fluid still in here. Go ahead and set that aside. I'm going to use some spray solvent on the face of the booster here and I'm going to wipe away. I don't want to get junk inside that port, but we do want to make sure that the surface is clean for installation. Now is also a good time to go ahead and inspect that booster for rust, corrosion that could be potentially an issue down the road. Ours has a little bit of surface rust, but nothing that is detrimental to the operation. Now here we have our master in a vise. We're holding one of the ears, and you want to be careful with that. Don't over tighten it where you crack the ear. We have our tubes coming through into our reservoir. We're going to go ahead and fill this up with some fresh new fluid. And what we're going to be doing is pretty much burping any of the air out of this here. So on the port side here, we're going to use a rubber side of a screwdriver. You don't want to use anything that's going to mar or damage this. And you're going to go ahead and start to push in. Make sure you're wearing safety glasses when doing a job like this here. What we're doing is we're pushing any air bubbles up and out of the unit and cycling it through, so it's just a consistent fluid in here. And this is what we call a bench bleed. Okay, there's no more air bubbles coming out. So at this point here, we're going to go ahead and take this unit here. Going to bring it on over and get it set up inside the vehicle. Let's go ahead and lower this down in position. Now, when we do this here, you want to make sure that the center of this shaft here lines up with the booster shaft inside there. It's pretty crucial to the operation. The other thing you want to pay attention to is the O-ring on here. You want to make sure that it is on the center portion, not on the further back ring here on the groove. You want it in the center groove here, not the one closest to the flange. Go ahead and lower this down. I'm going to put that shaft onto the booster shaft. Fit this in a position, pushing that on. The wiring harness on the upper right, make sure that that gets put back onto that stud. I'm going to go ahead and install the nuts on those studs there. Now when it comes to these here, you want to be careful. You want to make sure that you definitely torque those into position. If you over tighten these here, you can flex the face of the booster and you're going to end up with a vacuum leak, and then you're going to have to replace the booster. So do not just put your impact gun on there and blast the thing away. Simply get these started by hand. And I'm going to gently snug them into position. All right, just bottomed out. Make sure this one here is just bottomed out. Make sure it's nice and even. Now with those gently snugged in place, we now want to go ahead and start to get the hard lines fit in. So fit that hard line in, and always start these threaded nuts by hand. Never just put your wrench on there and start reefing away on it. You cross thread that. That's a much bigger job. You're going to have to deal. You probably have to replace the master cylinder again, or You're going to have to replace the hard line with that nut. Sometimes just wiggling the hard line while you're getting that nut started helps. Now they tend to be fairly easy once they start threading in themselves. Here we go. I'm going to use my flare wrench here. I do want to make sure that those are pretty snug. So once I bottom out, give it just a little bit extra. And you're going to do the same on that back one here. You're going to open up the cap. Make sure that you put your screen inside. Press it down in a position. Install the cap. Go ahead and spray this down. Clean up near that residual brake fluid off those connectors, the lines, all that stuff there. Make sure it's nice and clean. Once you're done there, let's go ahead and connect your level sensor. The little tab itself is going to be facing towards the front of the vehicle. Line that up and push that on. You're going to feel and hear it click in a position. Once you've cleaned everything up here, you can go ahead and remove any of the towels that you use to capture that brake fluid. Make sure it does not touch the paint on the vehicle. If so, clean it, wash it immediately. And we're going to torque down our master cylinder flange nuts to 10.8 foot-pounds. Right there. There it is. And open up the reservoir cap, set that aside. Now at this point here, we can go ahead and top off the master cylinder with some fresh brake fluid. And then we're going to install our cap. Our brake bleed procedure starts at the right rear. Next is the left rear, followed by the right front, and ending with the left front. Now starting at the right rear here, what we're going to do is we're going to use our reservoir here to capture the fluid as it comes out. Now we have someone inside the vehicle that's going to assist us in pumping up the brakes while we do this job. They're going to inform me, they're going to pump, 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 hold. Then we're going to open up the bleeder screw and purge out any air and dirty fluid that's in the system here. And we're going to continue this procedure for all four wheels. You may have a rubber cap here on your bleeder screw. If not, it's not that critical, but it's nice to have one. I'm going to use a 10mm wrench. And what we're going to do is we're going to just break this free just to set this up. All right, so it's, you can go ahead and loosen this. I'm going to get my hose set up on this. Okay, if you go ahead and pump that up. I'm going to open this. That's at the floor. Close it. Go ahead and pump it up. While they're holding pressure, you open up the line. They let me know it's on the floor, and then we close it. You don't want to pump it while we have this open. Go ahead again. And one more time. Actually, we're getting a good amount of air out of this one here. We're going to continue to do this until we get rid of that air here. Go ahead. Perfect. So we're all set on this one here. I'm going to snug down that bleeder screw. Purge out any of that fluid there. I'm going to give this a quick spray with some spray solvent. Clean up any of that residual brake fluid that might be here. put our cap on. Now I want to go ahead and proceed to the left rear. I want to open up the cap. I want to top off the master. Now there is a max line on the side here. You want to go ahead and fill up the reservoir too. You're going to use the appropriate brake fluid that's recommended for this vehicle according to the reservoir lid. On the right front, we're going to continue this procedure. Remove the rubber cap. Okay, pump it up. Pump it up. And one more time. Okay, no air bubbles and clean fluid. Let's go ahead and wrap it up with the left front. Let's go ahead and top this off right to that max line. Put the cap on. Now that we're done bleeding the brakes, you want to go ahead and hop into the vehicle, pump up the brakes, make sure that they feel good. For some reason, if they feel soft and spongy, go ahead and repeat this process one more time. At that point there, you want to go ahead and put your wheels on, torque down the lug nuts to 88 foot-pounds, and then take the vehicle for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.